Sometimes we all feel uncertain. We all feel we are in a trap. We feel exposed. And that's when confidence will help you to stay in that cringy moment and keep leading. Right. And when you do that, it doesn't just inspire your confidence, it also builds up the confidence in the people that are surrounding you.
And Satya, you left to Canada with two suitcases, right? And now, fast forward few years, like of course, like close to 2 decades or little beyond that, right? Your trajectory has changed a lot. And share with us a pivotal moment when you recognize your inner strength and how did it really influence your career trajectory?
Yeah, that's a loaded question, Naveen. I'll tell you that, but it's a good one.
Let's move forward and talk to us about how you harness your personal power to overcome challenges in a traditionally male dominated industry.
Hmm. Now you're talking about something that is probably an interest to many women leaders.
Absolutely.
And I often remember Albert Einstein's quote here, where he says, "If you can't explain what you're going to do to a 6-year-old person, you don't know it well enough."
Yeah.
Right?
So, folks, you have tuned into TGV and hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series, the world's only quadrilingual podcast at this moment of recording. And we are trying to embark into multiple languages as we speak. And here we embark on transformative conversations for a better future. And we want to simplify and amplify your journey to success. I'm your host, Navin Samala, dedicated to making the world a better place by bringing you wisdom through valuable discussions with experts designed to simplify and amplify your success. And thank you so much for tuning in. So, folks, we are joined by Satya Gumati. She is a transformation leader known for building smarter, faster, and more human centered teams across public service, customer experience, quality engineering, and financial services. Currently, a senior leader, and she has driven impactful change in government commissions and the rail industry, including playing a key role in the landmark Canadian Pacific Kansas City Railways merger. And she brings a unique ability to turn strategy into reality while inspiring cross functional teams and simplifying complexity. And she's a passionate advocate for diversity and women in STEM. She volunteers with leadership networks and community programs supporting newcomers and cultural education. And Satya also credits her family for grounding her leadership with resilience, empathy, and purpose. So, today we are going to have an interesting conversation on the topic at hand, Shakti and Lakshya, navigating power and ambition in Satya's journey. But before we get started, here is an exciting twist. As always, let us tickle our guest brain first. So, Satya, get ready for the first rapid fire round. I'll mention a few questions and I would love to hear the first thing that comes to your mind in response without thinking much. If you're ready, let's get started.
Let's get started.
Hello, I'm Steve Ahern, one of the judges of the Asia Podcast Awards. I'm interrupting this episode to let you know that you're listening to an award-winning podcast. This podcast won its category in the 2024 Podcast Awards, so you know you're listening to quality. Enjoy your listening experience and congratulations to the team who created this award-winning podcast for you.
Okay, what is your superpower at work?
Seeing the big picture.
One thing you wish people understood about you.
I care deeply and I balance empathy with results.
Wonderful. A worst job you have ever had.
Can't really say none. Every job has taught me something to do or to not to do.
Yeah, I like that. I think either you learn good things or learn things that you're not supposed to do. So that's wonderful. And what is your dream role in 5 years from now?
Leading something that is coined as a blue ocean strategy, where competition is irrelevant. You build your own empire and you lead it.
Wow. So strategic and powerful as well. And one word your team would use to describe you.
Determined.
What's your go-to way to recharge?
I'm a nature aficionado. I like music and a quiet corner where nobody disturbs me.
Awesome. Strategy or execution? Which one would you choose?
It can't exist one without the other. So both.
Awesome. A book or podcast you recommend to someone right now?
I prefer podcasts because it's more bite-sized. I like the fixable one. There is a LinkedIn backed Hello Monday podcast, which is another favorite of mine.
Wonderful.
And now it's going to become the guiding voice after this.
Awesome. I'm glad you said that. And what is one risk you are glad you took?
Well, this one is it's easy, but it's also deep. It is immigrating to Canada,
Mhm.
2 suitcases, one-way ticket to the other side of the globe, and with an infant in my bassinet. So I'm glad I took that risk.
Awesome. Are you married by then, or have you gone for studies?
Yeah, it was me, my partner, and my 2-month-old infant.
Awesome. Awesome. These days, I'm doing the rapid fire round little differently. Earlier, I used to do rapid fire round of random words. So these days, I'm experimenting with a few questions and all. And your responses to the first rapid fire round are really super good. And I'm hoping more powerful responses to the second rapid fire round. So stay tuned. And before that, first of all, let me welcome you to the Guiding Voice podcast series. So, Satya, hearty welcome to TGV. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Naveen. Thanks for having me here. I'm doing very well. I'm looking forward to having a very riveting conversation. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Hustling for last 5 years with TGV, along with day job and many other commitments and all, but loving this journey. All right. So before we get started, I would like to thank my friend Shan Konduru for connecting both of us. So thank you, Shan, once again for connecting me with amazing individuals. And Satya, let's get started. Talk to us about who is your guiding voice.
That's a big bang question to begin with. I will call my inner voice. Everybody has it, right? In my case, my inner voice is a mixture of the future me that is challenged by the current reality, the current voice and the future voice. One portion asks me to seek adventure, think bigger, go bolder. And the present me says, how is it that you're going to do it? By being more smart, by being more stable. Don't really lose what's important to you, right? In addition to the inner voice, I do definitely seek out to a lot of my mentors,
Mhm.
lots of guidance along the way. That's what has made me who I am today. They've taught me to enhance clarity, enhance courage, and be consistent, remove noise, and don't always seek perfection because perfection is the enemy of the good, right? But sometimes noise does get louder. Your inner voice will not be heard. And that's
Yep.
when you got to lean in, right? You got to
Mhm.
lean in on your facts, lean in on your gut feeling. Gut is just data processed faster than your brain can. And then a little bit into your strong willed energy, in my case, the Taurus energy. So, yeah, be authentic, breathe, trust the journey, and move on. That's my inner voice.
Mhm. Great. So your inner voice and then guidance from mentors have helped you. And now talk to us about your success mantra, as in top three things that have contributed to your success so far.
So I'm going to elaborate on this, but I'll start with my 3 C's: the
Mhm.
clarity, the confidence, and the connection part, right? Clarity isn't optional when we are working, when we are at home. Clarity is oxygen, right? It helps me, whether it's at work, leading large scale initiatives, or navigating ambiguity at home. Focus on distilling into actionable priorities. When you think about it, we got to anticipate the difficult that's going to hit us, and we got to manage the easy. And I often remember Albert Einstein's quote here where he says, if you can't explain what you're going to do to a 6-year-old person, you don't know it well enough.
Yeah.
right? And that clarity enhances focus. And when we work together, it helps you operate as a team. So that is very important. It's kindness, basically. Clarity is kindness. Um, we need confidence, especially women in STEM. Confidence is showing up, not loud, not boisterous, showing up with calm and convicted personality, even when the path isn't fully visible. Sometimes we gotta pave the path. Speaking up with confidence is the battle half won, right? We gotta have the courage to speak up respectfully. Um, Sometimes we all feel uncertain. We all feel we are in a trap. We feel exposed. And that's when confidence will help you to stay in that cringy moment and keep leading, right? And when you do that, it doesn't just inspire your confidence, it also builds up the confidence in the people that are surrounding you. And most important part that I am learning and I am a strong believer of is success is never a solo endeavor.
Yeah.
If you want to be successful, you need to build authentic relationships that are grounded in common purpose. So you got to be open to communication. You got to be logical. You got to bring your true self forward and care about the people you work with, right? Their personal well being will show direct results in the quality and quantity of the work that we all put together. So there you have it, 3 pillars: clarity, confidence, and connection.
Superb, superb. And Satya, you left to Canada with 2 suitcases, right? And now, fast forward few years, like of course, like close to 2 decades or little beyond that, right? Your trajectory has changed a lot. And share with us a pivotal moment when you recognize your inner strength, and how did it really influence your career trajectory?
Yeah, that's a loaded question, Naveen. I'll tell you that, but it's a good one too because it's gonna help me reflect
Yeah.
deeper, right?
Mhm.
So one of the ways I have synthesized the career trajectory are 3 circles. Everybody has these: the circle of control, the circle of influence, and the circle of concern.
Mhm.
Right? A very recent pivotal moment that reminded me of my inner strength was during the high stakes quality assurance endeavor amidst a very determined timeline and once in a generation railroad merger. We all know the environment is intense, there are shifting priorities, the need to adapt and lead through what sometimes we see as competing priorities. In moments like that, I think we shouldn't get caught up in what we cannot do much about. That's our circle of concern, right? I could say, well, I need more money, I need more time, I can't do it with these set of constraints around me. But instead, we can shift to focus on things we could control. How could we lead? How could we frame the challenges, right? How could we show up for ourselves and for the team? Extend your circle of influence, disrupt things that don't serve you. If there are
Mhm.
rules and they don't work for you, attempt to rewrite them. Breaking resistance is also a very important part of a meaningful leadership, right? Things to ask could be like, I suggest something and somebody may not like it. And then instead of fighting or trying to force it, throw out a question: what would you suggest?
Yep.
Or what can I do? What would it take for you to agree? Or can you just hold your breath and live with it for 6 months? We'll change it after that, right? These questions help converting resistance into collaboration and they build trust. They basically move the needle forward. That's what everyone wants, right? To get things done. And my personal realization in my career trajectory is that influence doesn't come from authority. It
Mhm.
comes from alignment, authenticity, and the courage to asking better questions. That's really been a pivotal reflection of my trajectory.
Mhm. So did it happen
Yes.
early in your career?
I think it happened over the course of my career. The last few years, I have started to feel the ability and my introspection where I'm actually implementing them more as a second nature.
Right.
Because when you start it, you got to be intentional. Say, okay, today I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to listen, let go. But then when you become what you practice. And then over the course of practice, the last few years, I'm starting to feel that it comes inadvertently without
Right.
really planning for it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move forward and talk to us about how you harness your personal power to overcome challenges in a traditionally male dominated industry.
Hmm. Now you're talking about something that is probably an interest to many women leaders.
Absolutely.
um, but to be honest, this is definitely a passionate question for me, and industries and domains which are male bastions
Yeah.
versus domination. I'm going to use that word, male
Yeah.
bastions. I've learned to turn constructive pressure into
Mhm.
real power, right?
Mhm.
And then people ask me, where do you get your motivation from? And I used to really shy away at first. I would give very polished answers. I'd say, I'm just lucky, I love my job. Well, that's true. I do love my job. But the full truth is, not just me, we have generations of gender biased traditions to prove wrong. We all do. And this is beyond the love of my job, right? Relentless work ethic, yes, that has helped me. Execution at scale has been a need, a demand that I try to deliver. Navigating complexity, most importantly, not being afraid to ask for help. And then be consistent, bring results, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it.
Yeah.
Right? Women often say we have a glass ceiling, and those who break the glass ceiling move up. But what we could do in addition to that is pick up those pieces carefully, build doors and windows for those who come after us, right? So they don't have to go through everything we went through. May I share a snippet from a TED Talk that I found very interesting?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Please.
Perfect. Perfect. I think it is very aligned with the topic on how to convert pressure to power,
Yeah.
especially in male bastion industries and in societal stereotypes, right? In 2003, Professor Flynn at Columbia University School conducted an experiment. He took a case study of Heidi, a very successful female venture capitalist, and changed the name to Howard Rossen. All other parts of the case study remained the same. He gave half of his class Heidi's case study and the other half Howard's case study. And he asked the students to rate how competent and how likable Heidi and Howard were. Both female and male students, interestingly, found Heidi and Howard to be equally competent, but the students tended to not like Heidi. They thought she was a little too aggressive, too much out for herself, and neither female or male students wanted to work for her, wanted to hire her, but they all thought Howard would make a great colleague. And why is that? It's just natural, right? Because in our society, women are penalized when you become and behave in ways that violate gender norms. The gender stereotypes that they want women to be kind, to be nurturing, to be supportive, to be submissive. And we want men to be decisive, competent, assertive, strong. So the dilemma for women is, do I want to be liked or do I want to be a great leader? Do I want to go against societal norms and sacrifice being a likable woman? That's a near-death experience for every woman, right? So I personally am not chasing to be liked or to be perfect. It's a trap. Perfectionism, if it's driving a car, then you are having fear calling shotgun, right? It's sitting next to you saying, you're going to crash. You got to be perfect, right? You got to just remember, I remind myself, bring your best self forward, lead with clarity. Don't strive to be palatable. Don't shrink. One of my coworker repeats this to me, and I always remember her for that. She says, the world may seem too crowded for us, right? And it's exceptionally true for countries with higher population as well. The world may seem too crowded for us, but remember to make the mark because there are so many stars in the sky that fit and they shine, just like they are the only ones doing so. And that's liberation. What do you think?
Awesome. No, I concur with you. And my next question is more again little related to this gender part. In a way, we being Indians, right? Women take majority of the workload, and I don't deny that. Okay, I completely am aware of it, and I often feel, especially leaders like you, who are able to balance professional life with personal aspirations and all, right? So big kudos to you on being a successful leader while managing family as well. So I want you to tell us, like, when you had a time to make a tough decision to uphold this balance of personal aspiration and professional responsibilities.
Perfect. So let me repeat the question. You would like me to discuss about how we balance personal and professional aspirations and responsibilities.
Right. And in that process, was there any situation where you have to make a tough decision?
Yeah, every day. Right? Every day as a working mother. Right now, my kids are upstairs and I've asked them to not barge into the room, but God knows if they're going to listen, right? Every day as a working mother, we all wake up to fill critical roles. I do. Some days, chasing time sensitive deadlines.
Yeah.
Some other days, leading a large team to craft an innovative, forward looking strategy. Some mornings, I wake up as a cheerleader for my daughter, who is the frontline tackler in rugby. Some other days, I wake up after a long night of standing outside Best Buy to buy a game at the crack of dawn, a new Minecraft game. I am exhausted, I won't lie. There are days I wake up to care for a sick child. And there are days I wake up to receive a very humbling and honoring prestigious award. And more often than not, it's a mix of all of these, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And after going through a very focused and busy day at work, the moment I enter home, I just tell myself, well, this is the most meaningful personal part of my life beginning right here. Right? We all have that moment, and then we got to make time for it. And to be honest, there is no proven formula on how to balance it here. I think if you want, if I want to be strategically good at something,
Mhm.
I have to be intentionally bad at something else. And my life is a three-legged stool. Like my personal self, my family, my work, and we draw from each other's leg just to make it happen. Right. And you gotta know that winning in one area matters, allowing yourself to lose where it doesn't matter, and you decide where that is. Right. I decide where that is for myself. The viewers decide it for themselves. But we all navigate chaotic phases. And for women, I find it's exceptionally hard that your biological cycle and your career cycle are in exact conflict with each other. Right?
Mhm.
When your career needs you, your kids need you, your spouses, your aging parents. But then where you give the unwavering focus, it's your choice to make every day.
Mhm.
I face it, we all face it. But one instance that has given me some grounding perspective in life, Naveen, I find, is that you at work and at home, I tell myself, I don't have to be constantly relevant to be successful, right? This when I internalized this statement, it was groundbreaking for me. Somebody calls me up at work, at home, say, be excellent at this. I will be excellent at that. But then during other times, I'll be in normal motions, right? You don't have to operate at the excited state all the time. And that way you can make time for what matters most at what point in life, right? It's unfair if I don't give credit to the women who have come and gone before me, right? Their examples, the books we read, my mother, my grandmother, my aunties, when I look at them, they remind me that you can be a boss at work and the boss at home. It's possible,
Yeah.
but it's not easy. And I'm truly, truly grateful that they have claimed their power and they've given me a chance to be good. But it's not easy. And I'm telling you, I haven't figured it out. But the one thing that resonated with me was about you don't have to be constantly relevant to be successful. So I just repeated that.
Awesome. All right. So during the first rapid fire round, you mentioned about your mentors. Let's double click on that. Like, how early in your career did you find a mentor, and how have they shaped your journey?
I think we all find mentors right from the time we are born. The first nurse who picked us up from our gynecologist when we were born, I mean, they cared for us, didn't they? But I think by the time we realize who they are and what they do, it's not until when you become a more grounded adult, right? So I have to start accolading the champions of my life who built my character, right? My parents, my grandmother, very much so. My auntie, my mother's sister, we call it chitti in Tamil, right? Then comes our teachers, and needless to say, schooling in India, you know how it is. I'm from Chennai. Um, they teach the importance of dedication. Work hard, or you get nowhere. Be consistent. Those are school age mentorship we didn't understand at that time, right? Then I was fortunate enough to be tutored on classical dance forms, and my dance teachers Shubha and Vidya, they taught me devotion. The dance forms teach you stamina and self esteem. When you see yourself in the mirror, when you see yourself in the auditorium, don't feel cringy anymore. You feel like, okay, that's me. I'm going to embrace myself, right? I've been fortunate in that way, Naveen. I would say a good number of men and women, a good number of men and women leaders at work who have made positive influence in my life, and I would remiss if I don't give credit to my spouse. Contrary to the popular belief, it is not easy to be married to me. So I give him a lot of credit. He's an angel. Um, at work specifically, I really admire my mentors who are excelling at something I call hospitality quotient. Right?
Mhm.
I have leaders who make me feel better in their presence. Right? I have leaders who are committed to my success. Like they won't tolerate mediocrity. They will torture me to greatness. And they teach magnanimity, they teach grit and grace and all of these things. When you bundle that together, it's just an amazing toolkit to have at your disposal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So first time I'm coming across a hospitality quotient. So I was aware of emotional quotient, intelligent quotient, curiosity quotient. Love it. Okay. So now you have already rose to a level wherein you started mentoring the future leaders, right? So in what way are you mentoring the next generation of leaders?
I like to think, and I've asked these to those I work with, I'm
Mhm.
a colleague of, and I do spend some time mentoring. And one of the feedback I received was, I don't show up to give advice. I show up just to listen,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? One of the most powerful things we can offer as mentors, especially to women leaders, is our
Yeah.
ability to listen. It sounds simple, sounds effortless, but in today's world, many women are not used to being heard, right? That's where I start. I listen to what they say, the words they use, what they didn't say, right? And when someone feels seen and understood, they will start realizing the power of their voice. And I just need to be there as a cheerleader, sometimes as a critic, because it's not always okay to let them go have a crash and then tell them I told you so, right? But then once you start listening and challenging them to grow, with support, honestly, that really takes them milestones ahead. It's also true that one size fits all women mentorship doesn't work, right? Every conversation is different. You got to reframe a challenge. Whether I'm talking to someone to take on their executive MBA or I'm talking to someone to take into a bigger role, it's about creating space for them, space to reflect, space to dream. And for me, it's about making them feel good in their own space and walking with them. It's messy. And sometimes it's the meaningful middle. And I have that too. My people tolerated me, and that leadership is what shaped me. And with that wisdom, courage, and heart, I lend my hand to others who want to come with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. And what will be your advice to women who are confronting social pressures?
Hmm. It's not going to be very different from the theme of my responses. I would say, you know, have the courage to be disliked. It's hard, right? And don't twist your shapes to different structures because it destroys your authenticity,
Mm-hmm.
right? You gotta sometimes when you do that, you'll fall, you'll fail. And one thing when I read, I kind of made it my own. It teared me up. Like, fall if you must. The person you are becoming will pick you up
Mm-hmm.
if nobody else does, right? And because we are talking about women confronting social pressures, I would add that true boundaries is not in a Gucci handbag. It's in boundaries and financial freedom. Like once you have both, I think that's true luxury. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. That's what I
Love it.
would say.
Awesome. And this has been an incredible conversation so far. And it's time for us to spice up the episode, which means we need to kick off the second rapid fire round. If you're ready, let's get
Oh,
started.
so
Okay. Here comes my first bullet. If you could have a gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say?
oh, um, are you sure this is a rapid fire round? Because it's going to be a longer answer.
That's fine. Like,
So I'm gonna start by saying the words. It would have been built for purpose, lead with vision, and stay rooted, right? And because I like to visualize the board based on your question, I'm going to add a little bit more to it. So please
yeah.
don't treat it as a rapid fire. You might want to imagine the billboard with earthy tones,
Mm-hmm.
like a forest green, like a taupe and a warm beige, with a hint of electric blue and silver, right? Um, the colors are meant to convey organized, loyal, original thinking. And there is a clean, maybe a minimalistic look with symmetry. Symmetry is very important to me. So there you have it. You can visualize it.
So here comes my next question. Imagine you could have dinner with any influential women in the past or present. Who would it be? And what would you ask her?
Um, it's a round table, and I'm going to pick three people.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
It's my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
She was a Montessori teacher for mentally challenged kids.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would want to ask her what gave her the patience and the passion to do that. And she has three kids of her own. My mother, my uncle who's no longer with us, and my aunt who is with me here. But that would be my grandmother. She's just an amazing woman. The next person would be two women contemporaries because I'm a believer that we should never admire quietly, right? We as human beings, we often take people for granted, but we then give flowers when they are no longer around. right? So the women contemporary, one of my favorite is Lily Singh. I don't know if she will be watching this, but she's a self-made vlogger and an entrepreneur, and her sense and timing of conversational, instructive humor is pretty eye-opening, and I'm sure my daughter will give me a pat on the back for choosing her. Third one is Tina Fey. Tina Fey we all know her. She's the Hollywood artist. And I like humor because humor is a very underrated leadership skill. So those are my three picks.
Okay. And any specific question that you would like to ask them? Will it be single question or multiple different things?
I think I ask fewer questions. I'm a listener. So the question to my grandmother would be, what was the passion that drove her to
Right.
choose what she did? Right. And I know my grandmother did not have a long term with her mother. So I would be my great grandmother and my grandmother did not live long together. So that would be one. For Lily, it's maybe I'll ask her some help on how to mend my teen because my teen is a big fan of her. And for Tina Fey, it's like the way she lands a joke, which is so educative. How did she learn to do that? Because um, people people fix themselves when it is told in a way that's more appealing, and that is what I would want to learn from Tina.
Love it. All right. So moving to the next one. If your life were a book, what would be its title and what genre would it belong to?
Um, it would probably belong because I'm a retrospective, like self-introspective, not retrospective, self-introspective person. It would be psychological and thought-provoking. I don't know what genre that would be. Maybe insightful, exploring. Um, it would be called The Inner Lantern.
Inner Land.
End of the day, it's the walk that you got to take alone, right? And the messaging would be, we've all seen failures in life, plenty, myself. And what I would take from that is what did not work for you really worked for you. That's important.
The Inner Lantern is a good idea for someone who want to start a podcast. I think that's so catchy. I love it. And
Yeah.
moving to the next one, what is the best advice you have ever received?
Um, I think one thing I will always tell myself, maybe even as a part of a prayer, it is an advice though. Um, we see rejections in life, right? And we say, well, I planned for this, but something happened and it never worked out. And I remember these sentences. It goes this way. It's good when he gives. It's supremely good nor less when he denies. The afflictions of the sovereign hand are a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, there is deep meaning in it. Love it. And
Exactly.
describe yourself in just one word.
Ah, I like to think of me as strong-willed.
So, and in the beginning, you mentioned about the podcast, right? Now, talk to me about a book that changed your perspective.
I'll be honest, I'm not a voracious reader when it comes to books. Like, I don't finish cover to cover all the time.
Yeah.
I'm a reader, but my taste in reading is like key quotes, right? It is more like keynotes, poems. And one of the memorable moment I'd like to share with you and the audience would be, it was a moment in my life. It was in one of the deep despairs where I'm trying to navigate ambiguity, complexity, challenges at work and home. And one of my friend who was traveling with me in that journey that evening just quietly texted me Theodore Roosevelt's quote. And it was a tough time. He said nothing, and it really changed my life. And this is how it goes very quickly. The succinct version is it's not the critic that counts. It's not the person who points out how the strong person stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done it differently. right? The credit belongs to the person who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred with sweat and dust and blood, who strives valiantly but comes up short again and again and again, and who in the end will know the triumph of high achievement, and who, when she fails or when he fails, will do it so ever daring greatly. I think that had a profound impact on me.
Love it. All right. So that brings us to the last one for the second rapid fire round. What is one electronic gadget or a fantasy gadget that you'd like to see or invent yourself?
Um, well, I've never thought about this, so it's probably something that I'm going to make up. This does exist in a movie. I don't know, but I don't know if it exists in real. Right? The Big Hero 6 is a movie. Don't know when it got released. Somewhere in the 2000 years. It is a very entertaining and a brilliantly animated movie. It's about a healthcare robot.
Mhm.
And me, as a working professional and a mother, I've always felt I would invest in one if somebody was making a healthcare robot just to take care of my kids and my family.
I would add one feature actually. It should also be able to feed children.
Absolutely. Feed them, kiss their boo boos, put them to bed, turn up a band aid, know how to strip it off, take their temperature, just take the nurse job out of me.
Wonderful. All right. So with that, let's flip to the mainstream. So what will be your one piece of advice to those aspiring to make big in their careers?
One piece of advice is wherever you go, the one thing that you take with you is yourself. Always bring your best self forward.
Yeah. Wow. I love it. And I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. It was such a thought provoking and incredible. And I'm sure our audience are going to get immensely out of this one. And Satya, how is your experience being hosted on TGV, The Guiding Voice?
Naveen, I want to thank you and the crew for inviting me. It has been a riveting conversation. Questions that I not just enjoyed, but I also felt like I could walk my career path in the history, walk my personal life's path in the living, and bring back examples. The as you put forward that the lakshya and the shakti is what we have. So I want to thank you for being so thoughtful in framing very relevant and good questions. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, most welcome. And it was such a pleasure hosting you. Looking forward to inviting you again in future. And let's stay connected and wish you all the best in everything that you do. So thank you, Shan, once again for connecting us with Satya.
Thank you, Naveen. Wish you my best.
Thank you. All right, so friends, that was our episode with Satya Gumati. And before we jump into the fun trivia section, we have a quick request. If you have enjoyed the conversation and found it useful, request you to share with at least 3 of your friends or colleagues who would also like TGV, so that you can spread the knowledge and help others grow just like you. Now, let's hop into the trivia segment. So, today's trivia is about fascinating facts about two women who are highly ambitious but lesser known, and they have made a remarkable impact on the world. And the first person is Noor Inayat Khan, who lived between 1914 to 1944. She was a British spy and war hero, and the code name is Madeline. During World War II, Noor served as an undercover radio operator in the Nazi occupied France, a highly dangerous role that most agents did not survive for more than 6 weeks. And she's the first Muslim war heroine for Britain. She was the first female radio operator sent into occupied France by the Special Operations Executive SOE, and displayed incredible courage under extreme conditions. And talking about the posthumous recognition, despite being captured and executed by the Nazis, her bravery was recognized with the George Cross, one of the Britain's highest civilian honors for bravery. And with that, let's move to the second person, Chien Shung Wu, who lived between 1912 to 1997, the first lady of physics. So she was instrumental in proving the impossible. So Chien Shung Wu conducted the famous Wu experiment in 1956, which disproved the law of conservation of parity. And this has reshaped the field of nuclear physics. However, she was ignored by Nobel Committee despite her groundbreaking work. The Nobel Prize for the discovery was awarded to her male colleagues, and they are Sung Dao Li and Shen Ning Yang, which has sparked controversy over gender bias in science. Apart from that, she's also a champion for women in science. She was a tireless advocate for gender equality in science, encouraging women to overcome systemic barriers in research and education. So, this is all I wanted to share with you from the trivia perspective. Likewise, if you know of any unsung women leader of the world, do let me know. If you're watching this episode on YouTube, you can comment there, or if you found this episode on audio platforms or social media platforms, you can comment there as well. So, folks, that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in and also for being part of our awesome TGV family. So, until next time, take care, stay inspired, and most importantly, remember the best is yet to come. Goodbye for now. See you all in the next episode with another amazing guest. Take care. Love you all. Bye bye.